Day 21 of the quarantine. What day of the week is it? I don't even know. But I know that this is not sea otter. Don't worry though, we got you covered. This is Pinkbike Beaver. My name's Dan Roberts, I'm a technical editor at Pinkbike, and today we're going to take a look at the 2021 Fox shocks. I should probably go and put something better on. So, it's a pretty big year for Fox with many new and updated suspension products. But if you're an eagle-eyed watcher of the Enduro World Series and the Downhill World Cups, you've no doubt spotted these shocks already. While looking similar to the predecessors and carrying the same names, there's been changes all over the shock, which means it's pretty much brand new. In an effort to improve on the performance of the previous generation X2s, Fox focused on having a better range of control of the rebound damping, better bottom-out control, and a swathe of changes all over the shocks to help up the performance all round. The Float X2 and DHX2 are aimed at downhill, enduro, and the heavy-hitting end of trail bike applications. Fox tweaked the compression ratios inside the Float X2, meaning that you'll need less spaces to achieve the same progressivity as the previous shock. There's a 300 psi limit, which means that heavier riders and bikes with higher leverage ratios should play ball with these new shocks. The DHX2 uses the same SLS orange springs or standard black springs as the previous shocks, but now features a full spring collar at the end of them. The old one had a slot in the spring collar so you could get it over the shock shaft when you assembled it, but it meant that you had to line up the spring collar and the spring just right so you avoided that slot. The new one has no slot and slides over the end of the shock and is held in place with a C-clip that's really easy to use and pretty damn solid. At the other end, the preload collar now has indents in the thread in the shock body, meaning that the preload collar doesn't come undone. The idea being that you only need just enough preload to stop the spring moving around, and in those light preload situations, the spring collar should stay where it is. Something that's pretty inconspicuous but that had a lot of development time put into it was the new bottom-up bumper. Fox played around with the durometer, the shape of the bumper, and the shape of what the bumper compresses into, so that you have a nice transition in travel when you start to compress the bumper, and also really good bottom-out control for when you're really squashing it. Most of the magic though is happening on the inside of the shock, where there's been big changes to the damper. The old X2 damper design had a dished main piston, which kind of gave a bit of a blow-off style characteristic to it. A bit like a stubborn teenager that would hold until a certain point and then let it all go. Some people remedied this by running high spring rates or excessive damping, but it wasn't the best. The old shock also used poppet valves in the head to control the rebound damping of the shock, but that left no real options in regards to available rebound tunes. The new X2 damper is still a twin tube design, but there's now a more traditional main piston with a shim stack for rebound on one side and a shim stack for compression on the other. That means the rebound shim stack is doing more of the heavy lifting and less of the work is done by the adjusters on the neck, and the shim stack also opens up availability for different tunes. Factory level Float X2 and DHX2 shocks see the high-speed rebound adjuster moved from the head down to the eyelet. The adjuster connects to a ramp plate on top of the rebound shim stack on the main piston, and as you turn the adjuster, you turn propeller-shaped leaf springs on top of the ramps on that plate. The higher they climb up the ramp, the more force they exert down on the rebound shim stack, and so you need a higher damping force to flex the shims. It's the same design found in the new 38's high-speed compression adjustment and is dubbed VVC or variable valve control. The plate's got two hard stops to limit the adjuster, which now has 8 clicks. That matches the 8 clicks in your high-speed compression, and it also matches the 8 clicks in the high-speed compression and high-speed rebound on the new 38, meaning you've got a similar language in clicks from front to back on your bike. The little high-speed rebound adjuster assembly is internally adjustable, meaning that Fox can get every single shock off the production line having the same rebound characteristics. That's also true for when you send your shock off for service. The compression adjusters on the head still use 3mm Allen keys for the low speed compression and rebound, and a 6mm for the high speed compression. Out the back of the shock there's the firm mode adjust switch, which is now in its own separate circuit away from the other damping circuits. And the firm mode adjust is now firmer, giving it a more solid pedaling feel when compared to the old X2. There's new damping oil specific to the new shocks and 3 rebound and compression tunes available, as well as other tunes that Fox developed with their sponsored riders and teams. The new Float X2 and DHX2 use the same damper, except that the Float X2 usually runs one step lighter compression due to the inherent damping properties when you're compressing air inside the Float X2. You'll still find Kashima coat on the Float X2, but the new DHX2 has a low friction chrome coating and bushings internally that work hand in hand with the new shaft coating. Bushing overlap has been increased on all the metric shocks. The outer body of the DHX2 is now steel, and the inner tube of the twin tubes has been beefed up with little fins internally to increase its stiffness and stop the occasional problem of it popping out of the head of the shock. Shock stroke is now really easy to adjust and you don't need to delve into the internals to do it. It's just 2 small screws that hold down a plate where you can add or subtract spaces to change the shock stroke. Fox have 3 levels for their shocks: Factory, Performance Elite and Performance. You can get the DHX2 and the Float X2 in the factory spec with both the high speed and low speed rebound and compression adjustments. Only the DHX2 is available in Performance Elite spec with both low speed damper adjustments, and only the Float X2 is available in Performance spec with just the low speed rebound adjuster and the black shaft coating. A really nice touch from Fox is the inclusion of some Imperial Lengths. Not everyone is on the latest bike with the greatest standards, so the addition of 4 Imperial Lengths is really good for all those pre-metric bikes out there. All new X2 shocks are compatible with the bearing hardware kit from Fox 2. The Float X2 costs between $639 and $669 US, or $849 and $889 euros. The DHX2 costs between $619 and $649 US, or $819 859 euros with the spring sold separately. I've got the DHX2 bolted to my Real Madonna with a few rides on it already, and a Float X2 on the way, so look out for full reviews in the future on both the new shocks. But from what limited ride feelings I've got already, I'm pretty damn keen as mustard to get out for more riding on more varied terrain to give it a full review. Stay tuned for more Pond Beaver virtual trade tour coverage. I'm off for a beer.
But there's tremendous light at the end of the tunnel. I said it last time, said it last night. There's tremendous light at the end of the tunnel. There's so many things happening with therapeutics, with vaccines.